She felt it before you ever did. That quiet pull in her chest you mistook for politeness was already attachment forming. Listen carefully because most men never hear this truth until it costs them years. When a woman likes you badly, deeply, in a way that scares even her, she rarely announces it with obvious desire. She hides it behind restraint, logic, and self-control. Not because she's playing games, but because her nervous system is trying to protect her from vulnerability. As a psychologist, I've watched this pattern repeat thousands of times. The men who miss it aren't stupid. They're uninformed. When her feelings are intense, she becomes careful, not reckless. She studies you instead of chasing you. She listens more than she speaks. She remembers small details you forgot you shared. She notices your emotional rhythms before you notice your own. And instead of flooding you with affection, she tests the emotional ground to see if it's safe. Safety comes before desire in a woman's psychology, especially when desire is strong. Here's what most men misunderstand. Obvious flirting is often shallow interest. Subtle emotional calibration is deep interest. When she likes you badly, she doesn't want to disturb the connection by pushing too fast. She fears being seen as needy, replaceable, or foolish for caring more than you do. So, she controls herself, and the stronger her feelings, the stronger that control becomes. You might notice her pulling back right after moments of closeness. That's not disinterest, that's emotional regulation. Her mind is saying, I felt too much just now. She may become quieter after laughing with you. She may delay replies after a deep conversation. Not to manipulate you, but to regain internal balance. Men often interpret this as fading attraction. In reality, it's attraction exceeding her comfort threshold. Another truth men are rarely told. When she likes you badly, she watches how you handle power. Not dominance, not confidence alone, but emotional power. Do you rush to fill silence? Do you over-explain? Do you seek reassurance? Or can you stay grounded, calm, and self-contained? Her attraction doesn't grow from your words. It grows from how you regulate yourself in her presence. She also won't confess her feelings if she senses you're still driven by validation. A woman in deep attraction wants to feel chosen, not used to feel chosen. If your energy says, I need you to want me, she will retreat emotionally, even if she wants you badly. Desire collapses under pressure. Safety disappears under hunger. This is why many men get stuck in confusion. She's attentive but reserved, warm but not expressive, close but not committing. And instead of leaning into self-mastery, the man pushes for clarity. He asks questions too early. He seeks labels before emotional readiness. And the moment he tries to force certainty, she feels exposed, cornered, and unsafe. Understand this. Her silence is not absence. It's containment. She is holding something powerful inside herself. And the question isn't whether she feels it. The question is whether you're emotionally steady enough to let it unfold without rushing, grasping, or demanding proof. When a woman likes you badly, her biggest battle is not with you, it's with herself. Her mind starts negotiating with her heart, and that internal conflict shapes everything you see on the surface. She wants closeness, but she also wants control. She wants to feel you, but she's afraid of losing herself in the process. So her behavior becomes layered, sometimes contradictory, and deeply psychological. You'll notice she becomes more selective with her availability, not less interested, but more intentional. She doesn't want to give you unrestricted access to her emotional world unless she knows you can handle it. In her psychology, access is currency. When she values you highly, she protects that currency. She may cancel plans not because she doesn't care, but because she cares too much and needs to regain emotional grounding. Attraction that feels overwhelming often leads to distance, not closeness. She also starts mirroring you subtly, your tone, your pacing, even your emotional restraint. This isn't coincidence. It's her nervous system syncing with yours to see if harmony is possible. If you're calm, she calms. If you're reactive, she becomes guarded. If you're inconsistent, her anxiety increases. This is why this consistency is more seductive than intensity. Intensity excites her. Consistency reassures her. And reassurance is what allows desire to deepen safely. Another thing most men overlook is how she tests emotional maturity without ever announcing it. She may share a mild vulnerability, not her deepest wound, but something small and real. She watches how you respond. Do you minimize it, joke it away, try to fix it immediately, or do you simply hold space? If you rush to solve her feelings, she learns you're uncomfortable with emotion. If you dismiss them, she learns she must protect herself. But if you stay present without needing to control the outcome, she relaxes. And relaxation is where attraction turns into attachment. When she likes you badly, she becomes hyper aware of power dynamics. She notices who initiates more, who waits, who bends. And here's the paradox. She wants you to want her, but not need her. The moment she feels you leaning emotionally without self-stability, something in her closes, not out of cruelty, but instinct. Attraction requires polarity, and polarity collapses when one side abandons self-grounding. You might also sense moments where she almost confesses then stops. A long pause, a softened look, a sentence that trails off. That's her standing at the edge of vulnerability, checking if the ground will hold. If you rush in with pressure or interrogation, she steps back. If you remain calm, attentive, and unattached to outcome, she steps closer internally, even if she says nothing externally. This is where many men sabotage themselves. They try to extract certainty instead of embodying stability. They ask for reassurance instead of becoming reassuring. They chase clarity instead of becoming clear in their actions. And without realizing it, they force her to choose between her feelings and her sense of safety. When forced, safety always wins. Understand this deeply. When she likes you badly, she is not waiting for the perfect line or moment. She is waiting for emotional permission. Permission created by your steadiness, your patience, and your ability to remain whole, whether she opens up today or not. There is a moment when a woman likes you badly, where her behavior becomes the opposite of what you expect. This is where most men misread the situation and walk away too early or worse, push too hard and destroy what was quietly forming. Her emotions reach a depth where expression feels risky. So instead of moving forward, she freezes. You may notice her becoming more formal, less playful, more controlled with her words. This isn't because attraction is fading. It's because attraction has crossed into emotional significance. When something matters, the stakes rise, and when the stakes rise, the nervous system activates self-P protection. She doesn't want to reveal how much you affect her, unless she's certain it won't be mishandled. At this stage, she is constantly evaluating emotional safety through your reactions, not what you say, but what you tolerate. Can you tolerate ambiguity without collapsing into anxiety? Can you tolerate her silence without assuming rejection? Can you tolerate not knowing without trying to dominate the outcome? Your answers to these questions are not verbal, they are behavioral. Here's a truth men rarely hear. Emotional pressure feels threatening to a woman even when it comes from affection. When she likes you badly, your need for reassurance feels heavier to her than your absence ever could. Absence allows her to process. Pressure forces her to defend, and defense is the enemy of desire. You might feel tempted to pull back sharply, to regain control, to disappear, hoping it will provoke a reaction. This strategy only works when done unconsciously through self-focus, not as manipulation. When withdrawal is authentic, she feels the shift and reflects. When it's performative, she senses it and loses trust. Women are highly attuned to emotional intent. You cannot fake detachment and expect it to feel safe. Another subtle sign she likes you badly is her increased emotional discipline. She doesn't overshare. She chooses her words carefully. She avoids topics that would expose how invested she is. And paradoxically, she may treat you more seriously than someone she feels casually about. Seriousness is not boredom. It is respect mixed with fear of loss. This is also where her attraction becomes contingent on your self-respect. She watches how you treat your time, your goals, and your boundaries. If you abandon yourself to orbit her, she feels responsible for your emotional state, and attraction weakens. If you remain anchored in your life while still being emotionally available, her respect deepens. Respect is the container that allows desire to stay alive. Many men think attraction grows through escalation. In reality, at this stage, attraction grows through restraint, through letting moments breathe, through not demanding outcomes, through showing that your identity does not depend on her response. This is not indifference. This is emotional maturity. If she feels she can step forward without losing control, she will. But only when her body senses that you are not a threat to her autonomy or emotional safety. And that sense is built slowly, quietly through how you handle uncertainty when you could have panicked but didn't. When a woman likes you badly and never told you, the final truth is this: she is waiting to see who you become when nothing is guaranteed. Not when she's warm, not when she's close, but when the outcome is uncertain and your ego has no reward to cling to. This is the moment where attraction either matures into intimacy or collapses into distance. If you've stayed steady, something shifts inside her. Her internal tension softens. She stops monitoring herself so closely. Her responses become more natural, less guarded. You'll feel a warmth that doesn't ask for attention, but offers presence. That's her nervous system finally relaxing. Not because you convinced her, but because you proved you are emotionally safe over time. This is when she may finally open up, and it rarely comes as a dramatic confession. It comes as honesty. She might tell you something vulnerable about her past. She might ask a question that reveals concern about the future. She might allow silence without filling it. These are not accidents. They are invitations. Invitations that only appear when she believes she won't lose herself by stepping forward. And here's the part most men never understand until it's too late. She didn't stay silent because she lacked courage. She stayed silent because she valued the connection more than the relief of expression. She didn't want to risk turning something meaningful into something fragile. Silence was her way of protecting what she felt. If you mishandle this moment with pressure, with entitlement, or with fear-driven urgency, she doesn't argue. She withdraws quietly. But if you meet it with grounded presence, with clarity in action rather than demands in words, she chooses you without needing to announce it. Choice is more powerful than confession. This dynamic isn't about manipulation or waiting games, it's about self-mastery. The man who attracts a woman who feels deeply is not the one who chases emotion. It's the one who can hold it without trying to own it. Masculine stability creates the space where feminine depth feels safe to emerge. So, here's the question I want you to sit with, and I want you to answer it honestly in the comments. When she didn't speak, did you assume she didn't feel, or did you become the kind of man who didn't need her to prove it? If this truth resonated with you, like this video so it reaches the men who are confused but ready to grow. Subscribe for deeper psychological insights that most people never hear. And share this with one friend who's misreading silence and calling it rejection when it might be something far deeper.